And I'm able to call that to myself because I'm getting up every morning and doing things that most people are unwilling to do. Waking up hours, 3 to 4 to 5 hours before I even have to head into the office. Welcome to another episode of Mindset Mastery. I'm your host, Araujo, and I'm here giving you a different look of what we have going on in our studio. But it's always great to be here on a Monday. It makes me very excited and also makes me think about the things that I have to accomplish this week. And the whole point of Mindset Mastery is to really do that, right? Is to give us a platform to understand that we have to be clear, we have to be certain about the things that we want to accomplish. And it's something that has helped me tremendously in every aspect of my life. In every facet of my life, I think it came down to a few things, which was first, I need to be clear about what I wanted. I need to have that confidence to be able to go after that clarity and obviously being disciplined on what I have to do on a daily basis. And it's not one thing or the other. It's all three elements to really build a life on fire, to be able to now make the big decisions that are sometimes holding us back. And my life has been exactly that, just a simple process that has turned into unreal results. So sometimes I just sit back and I'm like looking at what I've created. When I look at my finances, I look at my marriage, I look at my body, I'm like, how in the hell did I create this, right? And there's this sense of joy that pours through me of like, how did life get so good? Especially coming from a place where I thought, having chaos and having depression as part of my life, having things not always go my way was something that I was just used to. Feeling the sense of happiness, feeling the sense of fulfillment was very foreign to me. It was foreign to how I was brought up. It was foreign to how my marriage first started. We had our good times, but it was always on the back of all those many bad times. And to be able to have a functional life, free of dysfunction, right? Free of always burning things down when things are going too good, comes again on the back of making sure that you're disciplined on doing the right things every single day. And I start thinking about what I have going on right now. And we are actually going out to the Goodyear office today. We decided several months ago to completely refurnish this entire office. And it wasn't going to be like a lipstick type of remodel, right? We really wanted to go all out and put in the necessary funds to make it look beautiful, make it look professional, with quality. And, it's never easy. It's never easy to make big decisions like that because we always think about the future and what it may bring, or more than anything, of what kind of issues may come up. And a part of us always wants to save. A part of us always wants to hold back because we just don't know what the future brings. And I start thinking about, what makes me move. And it's always those big decisions makes me move. Always that not knowing, right? The not knowing makes me really get up every morning to do something. And, I was joking with a few guys, and I hope they don't take this out of context, but I was just simply asking, right? Because the office has been pretty, barren the last few days. Last week was, I didn't see many people coming through the office. And it can mean one of two things. It can mean people are either taking their ease or people are really busy out there with clients, out there on listing appointments. But it really got me thinking about a mindset that we need to have, right? It's like, if there is nothing to do, what do you do, right? And I was asking a few of the agents, and I was kind of just bringing this out there because I needed to process that in my mind, right? Especially during a work week. Like, if there's nothing to do, what do you do, right? Do you just sit back and call it a day and say, well, I deserve this day off. I'm going to go ahead and watch a little Netflix. I'm going to go ahead and run some errands. And I'm talking about Monday through Friday, right? Those are normal business hours for all of us. Monday through Saturday, every day of the week seems like for realtors. But, these unplanned like day offs, right? These unplanned days off. What do you do when there's nothing to do? What do you do when there's nothing to do? And that's something that I can't fully comprehend because I always feel like I'm on edge. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But as I start looking at the results, I'm going to go ahead and lean towards it's a good thing because it brings me fulfillment. What I am reaping right now and the results that I have right now, I would say 100% is always a good thing, right? to kind of be on edge a little bit because you're making those big decisions. You're making those big moves where you can't afford to just sleep in. I mean, the decisions you're making are so big, it wakes your ass up in the morning. You're like, I better go find something to do. And that's my whole philosophy. When there's nothing to do, what do? When there's nothing to do, you find something to do. Right? And I remember so many times where, I'm looking for just an opportunity to appear, but if I'm at home, it's less likely to appear before me. And as I got into this industry, one of the first things that I did is I would get up, and back then it was like a long sleeve shirt, collared shirt, some slacks, and I would get over to the office every day, even when I didn't have anything to do, because I was like, okay, in order to be able to get the things that I want, I got to be able to find the opportunities. I got to be able to find something to do. And one thing about opportunities, it just doesn't sit there for you to go out there and grab it, right? When you're ready, when you're able to make that decision, when you have the courage to go out and actually do it. In fact, it does something very different. It does something where it just moves on to the next person. And then the next, right? And sometimes we sit back and like, how did this happen to this person? They just started 2 years ago. They just started 3 years ago. I've been in the game 10 years. How is it happening for them? Well, the concept goes is when you have nothing to do, what do? And that's a question we all have to ask ourselves. We just can't go on every day and just go by the seat of our pants. Make decisions based on whatever happens. Part of this is being able to get clear about what you want. Being very clear on what you have to do on a daily basis. And that's why I find this Do the Work challenge so rewarding. And it almost invites others to realize what we've done over the years to be able to realize the returns we have. And if you can get clear about today, if you know exactly what to do today, you get more clear and know what to do for the future. But if there is no clarity, if there is no discipline today, then you can't possibly expect that that's going to come in the future. And it starts with the small deposits, small reps, right? And I've seen this, and I've seen the results of so many coming through these programs, coming through A's and Associates, where they just see one thing, consistency. They see one thing, which is discipline. They see consistency and discipline on a daily basis. And it's interchangeable, right? Because in order to be consistent, you have to be disciplined. And in order to be disciplined, you have to be consistent. And the individuals that come through are able to see, wow, if I just do this on a daily, I could only imagine what the future will bring. Because the daily discipline brings confidence. The daily consistency brings the confidence for you to be able to make bigger decisions. But if you can't bring yourself to the decision to simply do the things that you said by going to the gym, by journaling, by reading something that's positive to add value to your life, then you can't expect the big things. It's been amazing to be able to just sit back and realize that this was all a compound effect, all based on the small deposits that I decided to make on a daily basis. Very much like my daughter, she spent the entire summer, in our gym. She spent the entire summer, making sure she did extra practices for her volleyball. And I'll tell you right now, only in the first few weeks of starting the volleyball season, she's now reaping the reward. She's having so much fun because she decided to do the hard things when most people were unwilling to do it. She went to the gym every single day, whether she had friends with her or not. And sometimes, she had a couple friends that would come over. And guess what? When they didn't come over, she didn't say, well, I'm going to go ahead and take the day off. She decided to do it regardless. And what I'm saying is this: if you're able to do the hard things today, right? The hard, simple things today, the rewards are plentiful in the future. It gets to a point where you're like looking back and you're like, how in the hell did I get here? And that's the exact reaction my daughter got. She's like, Dad, I don't even know how I got so good. She comes home every day out of practice with the big cheesy smile, right? But that was on the back of sitting on the bench all of last year. And imagining herself and being clear about what she wants to do this year. She didn't sit back and decide, well, we'll see what happens next year. She decided she was going to do something for it. So she got clear about what she wanted. And then she got disciplined by showing up every day regardless of who was coming over or not. And now she's like reaping the rewards. She's seeing that the small reps equate to big results, and we get to enjoy it a whole lot more. I remember sitting back in a place of desperation. And we only get those feelings of desperation because we don't commit to the things we said. Desperation comes from a point where you decided not to do certain things. It doesn't necessarily come from doing the right things. Desperation and fear and turmoil, those things don't just come up. In fact, it's always a byproduct of not doing something you said, not staying committed to the things you wanted. So as I'm going over to the Goodyear office, to be able to remodel and make that decisions with confidence, regardless of what the market's going to do, regardless of what other expenditures I have, regardless of who I just hired, right? And then I look of the decision that I made there, and then I look at the decision I made to be in this building, to buy more equipment for this office, for my studio, hiring more employees. Those are decisions based on confidence. And then not only that, but making one of the biggest financial personal purchases of my entire life. And realizing this is just the beginning because I got to get up every single day with fire. If I'm just looking to be comfortable, if I have nothing to do, then things like this won't ever come up. When there's nothing to do, I find something to do. And I think there's a certain level that we all have to put ourselves into, a higher level, a higher standard. And we got to look at our own behaviors. If you're a business person, there's never a time where there's just nothing to do. If you're a business owner, there's never a time where you just take these unplanned, scheduled days off. Now, if you scheduled it, if you decided like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and take this Thursday off, but I'm going to do all these things to make sure that I earn it, I get it. But the realities are, if you're not doing those things, somebody else will. The opportunity will just move on to the next person. And it's all about the energy we put out there. I want success. I want opportunities. I want the big decisions. I want to be able to make the big moves. And I'm able to call that to myself because I'm getting up every morning and doing things that most people are unwilling to do. Waking up hours, 3 to 4 to 5 hours before I even have to head into the office. Why would anybody want to do that, right? And I'll tell you why. Because I understand how the game of life works. Short-term sacrifice, aka the investment right now, the results later on will be plentiful. To a point, just like my daughter, I can't believe I got this good. I have conversations with Carla with tears in our eyes, warmth in our soul, like, how did life get so good? How did life get so good? And the reality is it's available to all of us, to every single one of us. But we got to do our part first, doing the right things each and every day, being aware of our behaviors, realizing that in order to feel good, you got to start within. And it's these constant deposits that life becomes unimaginable, right? The results become something that we're like, how did this even happen? Yes, it's hard work. More than anything, it's just being clear about how do you want to feel? How you want to be? And again, these actions and this type of lifestyle is available to everyone. I'm not saying I've reached anything. There's people that are doing it at a much higher level. What I'm saying is, from where I started from, I'm damn proud. And it only diminishes at the moment I start comparing it to somebody else. That's not my path, at least not yet. But I'm shattering stories on a daily basis, making moves that I was too afraid back then. As a matter of fact, those moves wouldn't even presented themselves because I wasn't there yet. I wasn't big enough. I wasn't committed enough. My capacity wasn't great enough to be able to even have those opportunities come before me. They only come before me because I'm a bigger person today. And there's no secret formula of what happens here. It's just doing the right things each and every day. Every day. Not just after 30 days, not just after 60 days. Every day. At the same velocity every day, with the same intention. Because if it feels good like already after 60 days, just imagine after 6 months. Just imagine after a year, 5 years. I wrote something, and I want to go ahead and read it to you. This was back in 2016. All right? This was right after, January 6, 2016. Just finished up 2015, okay? And it says, it's not my time. And these are the thoughts that were going through my mind. It's not my time. We all have our aspirations of how we want our bodies, relationships, and bank accounts to look like. The thoughts of how far we are from our goals can be overwhelming and depressing. Our desires simply become a fantasy and a dream. We analyze our current situation. We stare at our bodies in the mirror and think, look how fat I am. I'll never be able to lose this weight. We look at our spouse or significant other and conclude that he will never change, or she is why I'm so unhappy. We stare at our bank accounts and are relieved that the check didn't bounce. We decide this is just how things are. So we continue going through the motions. We hope something extraordinary happens and convince ourselves it is not my time. The cycle repeats itself day in and day out. We continue to overeat. We disconnect from our family, desire others, lash out at our kids, avoid building our business, and think of how lucky others are. We say things like, it's because of where I grew up. My parents didn't encourage me. My husband never supports me. My wife holds me back. My knee hurts. I started too late. I'll never catch up. They don't have the problems I have. It's my genetics. I've tried everything. The thoughts compound and the mystery festers. The thoughts compound and the misery festers. We avoid taking responsibility when the fact is everything we have at this point is the culmination of every decision or indecision we made in life. I'm going to read that again. We avoid taking responsibility when the fact is everything we have at this point is the combination of every decision or indecision we made in life. The things are the way they are because we chose to be there. Sleeping in, eating that extra slice, fueling a disagreement, not having the patience for our family, avoiding making that important call, not adding the systems and processes to our business, all compound and resulted to what we have at this very moment. Things don't have to be this way. Extraordinary results don't necessarily come from extraordinary effort. Read that again. Extraordinary results don't necessarily come from extraordinary effort. We can't dwell or change the things we made in the past. We can't continue to beat ourselves up for letting it get so bad. All we can do is accept what is, forgive ourselves, and proclaim that things will change right here, right now. The key is to stay committed to recommitting to your health, to your purpose, connection with family, and career every single day. I'm all in. Are you? That is the philosophy, right? That's what we've taught. That's what I've preached. That's what I've lived for many, many years. And when I look at this, January 6, 2016, is very relevant to what it is today. But I was pretty much confirming who I was going to become in the future. I realized that the future and what I'm benefiting now started back then. I thank that person that wrote this. I thank that person that became conscious of his decisions, took the small, meaningless actions every single day, build that certainty, build that confidence, and became disciplined. So I can have that conversation with Carla today and say, can you believe it? It wasn't based on extraordinary efforts every single day. It was the small, monotonous, meaningless actions each and every day. I look at this and I'm like, that's the key. That's exactly what I wanted in my life. And some of you might be in that place of despair where nothing is going right. Marriage is falling apart. Your health, money's not where it should be. But it's not always going to be that way if you do the right thing today. But the problem is you won't see the effect of it right away. Having faith is part of this process. Realizing that if you do the right things, you will ultimately get the right results. Not just some of the time, it's guaranteed. But not just for 30 days, not just for 60. What you're doing is building that capacity so you can make better decisions each and every day. So I'm going to highly encourage you to do a few things here. And this is to get clear, right? Get clear of what you want to accomplish today. Because that will, in turn, will build that confidence that you need to get clear about bigger things, bigger visions, something greater for yourself and your family. And having that discipline on a daily will completely change your life. It's changed mine. And you've witnessed it. Maybe you're on the same path. And I would say if you've walked through the doors of A's and Associates, you're exactly on the same path. But understand that big things come from small actions every day. And as I go now to the Goodyear office, we're going to unveil it today. I'm going to go out there and just make sure everything's done right, Carla and I start thinking about how the decisions led up to that, right? And how the rebranding of last year and how it all fits together. It all was meant to be. I'll tell you one last story before I call it a day, before you can begin your day and go out there and crush it, right? Moving into this building made me reflect a lot about the journey that we took on. But I remember venturing off and getting that 900 square foot office, how big of a decision that was for us. And AZ & Associates was mostly meant just as a team, never a concept of growing as a brokerage. To now being one of the top 15 brokerages in the entire state, which is absolutely mind-blowing, right? As far as production and volume. It was never something that I imagined. But I remember there, after we were in our first office, where as soon as you walk in, you saw the entire office. We needed to expand, and we moved to a 1,500 square foot office in the same office complex. And the first thing we did was we put a couple quotes on our walls. And if you've been here with AZ & Associates, you probably recall this, right? One of the walls, it said, "Step into your power." And on the other wall, it said, "Build something greater than your next commission check." Little did I know that was going to be the foundation of what AZ & Associates is today. In fact, influenced everything that we did moving forward. It went as far as influencing our new branding that we unveiled last year. For those of you that are unaware or are new to the brokerage, you'll notice that the logo, AZ, is actually a door, right? If you look at the new logo, it's actually a door. It's got that little red doorknob. And it comes full circle because one of the first quotes is "step into your power." And when you step into something, you step through something, right? And the door is a perfect example of what that is. So to be able to set little deposits, not knowing why I'm putting out of everything that I could have put on a wall, why did I decide to do that? Only to realize it was going to influence the branding and reinforce who we are moving forward. When we sat down with the marketing company and I told them about this story, so many light bulbs lit up. And we realized that part of this logo had to be a door. A door of opportunity. A way to be able to step into your power. And now, if we continue to do that, it's amazing what it can create. So guys, if you have an opportunity, head out to the Goodyear office, head out to the HQ, and remember, if there's nothing to do, find something to do. Guys, thanks again for joining me for this episode of Mindset Mastery. I appreciate every one of you that showed up today. Much love to you all, and let's have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye now. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Badass Agents Podcast, brought to you by AZ & Associates and Do the Work Coaching and Consulting. You can watch this and other episodes by subscribing to our channel on YouTube or by visiting us directly at badassagents.com. And of course, you can listen to this episode and many others on your preferred podcast provider.